Hello. Another unscripted video just for today. Super controversial topic for both left and right. And this is kind of like a singular opinion. I feel like a lot of people don't agree with me on this, but really, I don't fucking care because I've come to the realization that I'm allowed to have original thoughts, and I just kind of wanted to share them. Um, Sorry, I got my teeth cleaned today, and it's like that weird feeling. So, I wanted to talk today about protests and why I think they're fucking stupid. And I'm not talking about the BLM protests or any of that shit. I really don't have much to say about that because it's obviously just fucking pathetic. But I wanted to talk about peaceful protests and just like holding up signs and shit. So I was driving down the street the other day. And like if you watch my videos, you've seen like my videos about, how ICE has already lost, Trump's already lost, we're giving mass amnesty essentially. We're doing what we did in the Obama administration where we're just not, giving we're not deporting people unless they commit a crime, which is just it's just unexpected. Well, for some people, I knew it was going to happen, but for some people, unexpected. And yeah, anyways, I was driving down the street the other day and I see like maybe 20 people holding up signs like saying like no ice and shit. And they've already fucking taken ice out of this city. Like it's gone. It's already gone. Like what are you doing? And it's like people are purposefully driving by these people so they can take pictures and TikToks and they're slowing down, in the middle of the road and it's like peak traffic hours and this was yesterday actually, and it was peak traffic hours and I just wanted to get an AK-47 and just light everybody up. um, Metaphorically speaking, I would never do that. Of course I don't own an automatic firearm or any firearm for that matter. um, but that's just how I felt, and it gave me the slight realization of like, wow, these people, one, are retarded, and two, it's like they're not even fucking like doing any. Like, it's not doing anything. And when you have something like Alex Preddy, the only reason that those types of protests are successful is because the media coverage gets so bad and it's like so like both sided in this case that even the Republicans that wanted mass deportation will say like this is taking it too far. But nobody actually ever looks into like what's really going on with these people. Like Alex Preddy was, he had a track record of being like in the past year, he had basically been unemployed from his job. His family was super concerned about him. He was openly attacking ICE agents and tracking them down using these like I don't know, these online forums and location ICE finders or whatever. And so he was fucking asking for it, if you ask me. And so, yeah, he was a piece of shit, and I don't think he deserved to be killed. But once again, I think he was asking for it. Um, and that's sort of like the kind of BLM protest. It's like the same thing as like breaking into a Target and stealing shit just to prove your point. It's like you're only doing this because you deeply feel something wrong within. You really don't give a fuck about what they're doing. Actually, you really do not care that much. The only reason you're going after these federal law enforcement agents is to validate something in yourself. And that's sort of why I make these videos, is because, I do that. And I'm going to talk about that also in a minute here. But yeah, I just think that's just not helpful for anybody because one, it gets people killed. Two, it disrupts the public, it disrupts the peace. And three, it's just like, really? Like you're going to go that far as to hurt somebody or go, it's just like, just don't fucking interfere with the government operations, dude. But I'm not really going to talk much more about that specific moment. And I kind of want to go back to the protesters I saw the other day. It's like people are taking pictures of them slowing down traffic, and it's just they don't seem enthusiastic about it, and they clearly don't know what's going on because this city has completely like forfeited ICE already, basically. So yeah, I don't know what the fuck they're doing, but like I said, I just don't think it does anything really. And there was protests back in the day, like the MLK protests that were peaceful, And, people, like, were relentlessly protesting, regardless of, being fired upon, tear gassed, and all of these things. But they still came and protested peacefully. And that sent such a powerful message to people. And it actually did work. During the civil rights movement, it worked. But I don't think America and the people in America right now are capable of doing this thing, a protest like that. Number one, our attention spans are too short. So really what's going to happen is you're either going to go to like one or two mass riots and like start fucking throwing shit around and being ridiculous and all that shit. But once you get bored of it, you kind of just give up. And that's most of the protesters. Two, so their attention spans are too short. Two, everybody's too mad nowadays to peacefully protest. Nobody has like the composure to like go and like do what they did during the MLK days and like relentlessly peacefully protest and, no matter what, just don't stop and just keep doing it until they actually make a change. And until they, they're, disrupting operations peacefully so many days in a row or so many weeks in a row that eventually they have to change. But, when you get these people that just cause these massive riots that disrupt the peace and, the media covers it and it's just a fucking massive meltdown, nobody really wins because it just goes back to where it would have been if, the Democrats won and there was no mass deportations, and then the Republicans would be mad. So it's just a massive cycle of the stupid shit. It's the stupid, retarded shit that doesn't need to happen. And yeah, Americans don't have the capability to peacefully protest anymore. So I just think that protesting is stupid. It doesn't cause anything but uprisings and people getting hurt. And another thing, I don't really think it educates anybody. And I don't think people that protest are necessarily fully educated about what's going on. I'm not saying I am. I'm just saying, judging by what I've seen, judging by the facts I've read and checked up on and everything, that I think what is most productive is educating people objectively based on facts. I think that is the only way to do anything. And I think that nobody realizes this now, but I think that's the only way people are going to realize things are going to get better one day. But a lot of people don't have the emotional, I say emotional before mental because people are very emotional nowadays. People don't have the emotional capacity to handle the truth, to handle information without being offended, without being triggered, without having to, just yell at somebody or, hurt somebody else or just cuss somebody out. And if you do that to me, you're proving my point, because like I'm really not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm just expressing my opinion, which is within my right to do. And it's within your right to do as well. But, if you say, fuck you and just dislike my video, fine, but you're just kind of proving my point because you're not really giving me a solid rebuttal about what you think. And I encourage you to do so if you disagree with me. So yeah, I really just don't think that protests anymore are effective. I think the most effective thing to do is to educate people, especially people that you're close to that maybe have a strong opinion on a certain subject, and try to do it objectively where, you're not just, harassing them with information and opinion and yelling at them, but sit them down, maybe ask them why they feel that way, and maybe question them whether they're feeling that way because of an emotional response they're having, or because they actually look and see and they disagree with it objectively. Because politics now is not based on facts. Like, in the media, it's not based on facts. It's based on pathos. It's based on emotion. It's based on, whether, you can trigger somebody to disagree with you so that the people that don't like those people will agree with you, or vice versa. You empathize with a certain side just to get their attention and their support, and then utilize that to your advantage and just, now they agree with everything you say. So I think that a lot of politics is based on emotion, and that's a fairly new thing. I don't think that was the case, even 20, 30 years ago. I think that, if you look at the presidential debates that are older, they're way more civilized. They don't attack each other. They don't fucking, offend each other. They even say like, hey, I don't want to offend you if, before they say something as a rebuttal. And that just gives like such a sense of respect and civility that you don't see anymore. You don't ever see that anywhere with the citizens, with the politicians, with the media. You don't see anything. It's all just hit pieces about, whether you can, use an out of context clip to cancel somebody or, hurt the other side's feelings. So that way, for example, the right wingers will just side with whatever you do, or vice versa. And it's just completely emotional. So, like, I really just think that we need to come back to the fact that we need to normalize education more. We need to normalize a lack of emotion when it comes to political motives. Because if it's not directly affecting you, then should you really be feeling that emotional about it and like want to go attack an ICE agent? You're not trying to save anybody. You're not trying to be a hero. You're trying to validate yourself, and you're trying to fulfill a deep hole in your life that like the savior complex type of thing. And it's not really for the benefit of other people. It's really just a selfish benefit to yourself. You're just asking for it, in my opinion. So the best thing you could do is to either make videos like this and objectively talk about certain topics and research things and express your opinions objectively, as objectively as possible and as peaceful as possible. Or you can just not do anything at all, because other than that, you're not really helping anybody. You're not really doing anybody any justice. You're not really contributing. You're kind of just a detriment to society in a sense, because you're voting purely based on emotion. You're reacting based purely on emotion, and you're not making logical decisions because of it. There's something called mindfulness, and mindfulness is combining emotion with logic, and in the middle is mindfulness. So just try to be mindful when you think of political subjects, when you think of, protests, when you think of stuff like that, because that's something that we don't have anymore. It's purely one-sided. It's completely emotionally based stuff. And it's mostly done for attention and validation. So, yeah, I encourage you guys to educate people, because I assume that if you're watching my channel, you probably are pretty well educated on these subjects. Because I don't really have to educate people on these things, I feel like, if they come to my channel, because a lot of the topics I talk about, you kind of have to be educated about anyway. But, yeah, I really appreciate your guys' time. I know this was another second upload today, and it was unscripted, so it may seem out of place and maybe disorganized, but like I said, I really don't fucking care. So, yeah, hope you guys have a good one.